Hola, muy buenos días. Todavía no hay nadie aquí conmigo en el video. Déjame cerrar mi puerta. Ok, bienvenido a nuestra clase. Todavía estoy esperando a mis alumnos de español 4. Ya les dije que íbamos a tener una clase de español, pero no están aquí todavía. Déjame ver. ¿Dónde están mis alumnos de la clase de español? Déjame ver. Mis alumnos de la clase de español ya recibieron el link. ¿Y dónde están? Si están aquí conmigo, por favor, escriban en el chat. Todavía estoy esperando. Pues les voy a dar como 3 minutos. Por favor, si estén conmigo, escriban en el chat. Oh, 4 personas, todos están aquí. ¿Tienen acceso al chat? Ahora solo hay 3. Ah, mejor. Ahora hay 4. Para las personas que no me pueden escribir por chat, por favor, mándenme un correo electrónico diciéndome que están aquí. Ya recibí un correo electrónico de Clara, pero no puedo usar el chat. Así es con Veritas, no sé exactamente el por qué. Entonces, lo que vamos a hacer es, necesitamos una forma de comunicarnos. No sé exactamente por qué no se puede comunicar por chat. Déjame ver, Clara. Ok, te voy a invitar. A ver. Fe, Esperanza, Mega, ¿me pueden mandar un mensaje diciéndome si ustedes pueden escribir por chat? Fe, delete. Ok, pues mientras todos tienen su tarea, cláusulas de sí. Ok, me imagino que me están contestando. Solo dice que hay una persona, no sé quién sea. Clara, ¿eres tú? Yo necesito que todos que estén conmigo, que me manden un mensaje por correo electrónico. Ok, pues vamos a empezar porque ya es la hora, ya pasó 10 minutos. Ojalá que todos puedan estar aquí conmigo. Además, ya saben que, pues tal vez no lo saben, pero ustedes pueden tener acceso a este video después. Con este link, ustedes pueden repasar lo que hemos aprendido en este video. Primero, quiero asegurar que todos tienen su tarea ya hecho. Entonces, si ustedes pueden sacar una foto de su tarea enseñándome que has hecho todo, les voy a dar 3 minutos para sacar esa foto y mandármelo, ¿ok? Cláusulas de sí. También si ustedes tienen un escáner, mira, mi escáner, ¿ok? En que ustedes pueden, pues, subir la tarea que ya han hecho. Es triste que no tenemos acceso al chat porque, pues, con chat podemos contestar o ustedes pueden contestar o darme las respuestas. Pero, ok. ¿Se acuerdan que la tarea dice que necesitamos traducir las oraciones? Vamos a empezar con número 1. Dice, if I were rich, I would buy a house. I were rich, I would buy a house. Ok. Entonces, les voy a dar la oportunidad de contestar en voz alta. Si yo fuera rico o rica, compraría una casa. Acuérdense, if I were es un ejemplo del subjuntivo, pero en el pasado, were. Ya sabemos que esa palabra en inglés es pasado, pero es subjuntivo, porque la segunda parte, la parte que va después, no es la cláusula de sí, pero la segunda cláusula está en condicional. I would buy, compraría. ¿Se acuerdan, verdad? Que pues las terminaciones de condicional sería ia, ias, ia, íamos, ian, ¿ok? Entonces solo hay que agregar ia o una de las otras terminaciones al infinitivo, ¿ok? Número 2. If you're not tired, tell me a story. Si tú no estás cansado o cansada, cuéntame un cuento. Ustedes tienen ese paquete que habla de los mandatos. Si la segunda parte o la primera parte tenga un mandato, la otra parte va a estar en el presente. If you are not tired. Es obvio que esa frase indica el presente, porque no es you weren't tired. If you would not be tired, no tiene sentido. Entonces hay que decir si tú no estás, ¿ok? Y acuérdense de los mandatos. Eso es muy importante, que los mandatos, tell me, estamos usando el verbo contar. Contar es UE, ¿sí? Pero tell me, vamos a agregar me al final. ¿Ok? Pero no se escribe así, hay que decir cuéntame, porque el primero dice cuéntame, ¿ok? Ok, número 3. We would have eaten if they had been ready. Ok, pues esto es poco difícil, hay dos opciones. Hay un ejemplo exacto del paquete que pues le queda cerca. We would have eaten, se puede decir nosotros hubiéramos comido o habríamos, condicional, o pasado de subjuntivo, si ellos hubieran estado listos, ¿ok? We would have eaten if they had been ready, ¿ok? En la segunda parte, la parte después de la cláusula de sí, they had been. Eso es muy importante. Muchas veces los estudiantes se olvidan de la palabra been, ¿ok? Had been ready. Entonces, cuando estamos diciendo had been, después de decir would have, los dos pueden ser en el subjuntivo del pasado, ¿ok? Acuérdense que had been indica un tiempo de perfecto. Eso usa haber, ¿ok? Entonces, cuando estamos hablando del pasado de subjuntivo, vamos a decir hubiera o hubieran, ¿ok? O hubiéramos. Muy bien. If she gives you the money, will you buy a car? 4. Si ella te da el dinero, comprarás un coche. Entonces sabemos por qué indica futuro usa con la palabra will, que la otra parte, la cláusula de sí, tiene que estar en el presente. Mira, tenemos muchos problemas con los objetos directos e indirectos, perdón. Acuérdense que normalmente ponemos el pronombre reflexivo, el pronombre como me, te, le, les, nos, lola, todos esos van antes del verbo. Entonces, por eso decimos, si ella te da, ¿ok? 5. I will go to the market if you do the dishes. Yo iré al mercado si tú friegas los platos. También, si tú haces los platos o si tú limpias los platos. Fregar es una forma de decir limpiar, ¿ok? Normalmente se usa para lavar los platos. Pero esa parte va en presente porque la otra cláusula tiene futuro. 6. If he's happy, he laughs a lot. Si él está contento, ríe o se ríe mucho. Para decir to laugh, reírse, es muy importante, reírse. Déjame checar mis correos electrónicos para asegurar que todos están aquí conmigo. Yo veo que hay 3 personas. Gracias, Clara. Yo vi que necesitas un boleto de gracia para tu tarea. Por favor, Clara, no escribas las respuestas mientras o puedes escribirlas en otra hoja de papel, pero quiero que tú intentes de nuevo, ¿ok? Pues que intentes hacer la tarea sola, sin mi ayuda y sin las respuestas correctas, ¿ok? Eso te va a ayudar con el examen. Ok, ¿dónde estamos? Número 7, yo creo. If they had wanted bread, they would have told me. Si ellos hubieran querido de pan o querido pan, ellos me hubieran dicho. Eso es como número 3, casi lo mismo. ¿Ok? 8. Tus hermanos, perdón, your brothers would cry if you lost. ¿Ok? Tus hermanos llorarían si tú pidieras. ¿Ok? Eso es muy importante, es como número 1. En la cláusula de sí, es obvio que hay que usa el pasado, pero porque la segunda parte usa el condicional, vamos a poner la parte que indica el pasado en subjuntivo. So I'm going to say this in English. If one of the clauses is in conditional, you're going to put the second clause in past perfect, okay? Because there's uncertainty and there's a sentiment of the past, okay? All right. Número 9. Dice, perdona. If you have the camera, take a picture, okay? Si tú tienes la cámara, toma una foto. Fácil. This is something that we knew from Spanish, maybe 1 or 2. A normal sentence that's in present, but Spanish 2 is when you learned tú commands, okay? Take a picture. Acuérdense, porque son 3. ¿Dónde está la otra? No sé. Acuérdense que cuando estamos conjugando en imperativos o mandatos, usamos la tercera persona singular para mandatos de tú, como toma. 10. Will we sell the house if you lose your job? Nosotros venderemos la casa si pierdes tu empleo. Will, futuro. If you lose, presente. 11. If I'm right, I'll win. Okay. Si yo tengo razón, yo ganaré. Acuérdense de las conjugaciones de futuro. Has, a, hemos, han. Okay. Número 12. Si hubiera, if you wanted to study, you should have told them. Si hubieras querido estudiar, hubieras debido decirles. Mira, esta oración es muy difícil y muy importante. Acuérdense, deber can mean to owe, like to owe somebody money, or should. Or should it's más fuerte, okay? It's pretty strong. So let's look at the second part of the sentence. Hubieras debido decirles. You should have told them. Okay? Todavía hay la palabra have que indica perfecto. This is not like tener to like hold something, right? But this is a perfect tense. So we're going to take have, and who should have done it? You. Hubieras. Subjuntivo del pasado. Okay? But the should, we're going to take and use the past participle. And like I said, the should is deber. So we're going to make it debido. Hubieras debido. Now, told them, although it is, we're not going to take two and put them with the past participle by saying debido and then dicho. No tiene sentido. Lo vamos a dejar en el infinitivo, ¿ok? Porque no se debe conjugar dos palabras juntos. And then, when you tell someone, you normally use the objeto indirecto, ¿ok? Because it's them, we're going to use les. If it goes in the plural side, third person. That's how we get hubieras debido decirles. Now, that first part is if you wanted to do this, right? And remember, the second half is going to be in that past subjunctive. The first half will as well for this rule. So if you wanted, querer, if they wanted, sorry. Oh, that's an error. Oh, I was on the wrong one. Yes, if you wanted to study. Si hubieras querido estudiar. Once again, to study, leave that in the infinitive. 13. I can't sleep if it's hot. Yo no puedo dormir si hace calor. Remember, for temperature, we use To say it's hot or it's cold, we use hacer, like it makes heat, it makes cold. Okay, hace calor. But if you said, if you change the sentence to say, I can't sleep if I'm hot, no puedo dormir si yo tengo calor. If someone is going to have the heat, we're not talking about the weather making heat, we use tener. Tengo calor, tienes calor, tiene calor. Okay? If we're talking about food being hot, right? I can't eat it if it's hot. No lo puedo comer si está caliente. Remember, do not use caliente with a person. You will say something inappropriate, and I don't want you to go there. Okay. 14. If you're hungry, eat something. Si tienes hambre, come algo. This is a simple sentence that we learned in Spanish too. You know this. 15. He'll be happy if he gets married. Él estará contento si se casa. Okay? Future and a present clause. This should be pretty easy. This is just translating sentences. Where it'll get a little bit more difficult is when you have to fill in the verb, I guess, and also when you are thinking of sentences in English and you start translating them in Spanish. This also gets very difficult when you are in the middle of a conversation, in the heat of a conversation, and you're like, I don't know, which one do I use? Just sometimes it's better not to sit there and think and just see what comes out. And if they don't understand you, try it a different way. If you notice yourself make a grammar mistake mid-sentence, change it. It doesn't matter. Honestly, as long as you don't sound like a gringo, people aren't going to be grammar Nazis. So that is cláusulas de sí. Ok, no sé si ustedes tengan preguntas del subjuntivo imperfecto. O sea, ustedes tienen es el opuesto, ok. Paquete, ¿verdad? Ok, entonces les voy a dar como 3 minutos para mandar un correo electrónico para preguntarme algo sobre la tarea o el subjuntivo del imperfecto. Oh, chat. Ustedes están en chat. Ahí no lo sabía. Okay, so I see that we're using chat on the side of YouTube. I don't know how this exactly works on the side. So I didn't even know that was an option. Perfect. We want some more examples, I see. Megan says, using el imperfecto de subjuntivo. Gracias por preguntar, Megan, en español. Okay. So anytime you have questions, go ahead and throw it in that chat on the side of the YouTube page. Had no idea. I'm a noobs. Okay. So more examples of imperfect subjunctive. Just imperfect subjunctive, or do you want it inside of a cláusula de sí, Megan? Let's see. Not sure if you can hear me. Megan, are you there? Okay. Clara dice los dos. Ok. Entonces, primero vamos a empezar con el imperfecto del subjuntivo en general. Entonces, les voy a dar un verbo, un infinitivo y un sujeto. Vamos a empezar con... Y la primera es, intenta de hacerlo sin el paquete. Try and do it without your packet, ¿ok? Vamos a empezar con algo sencillo. Ser con el sujeto tú. ¿Ok? Before you write it in the chat, make sure you give people a chance to do it on their own. And then I'll call on someone to type it into the chat. Cool? So this is ser con el sujeto de tú. Okay, Megan, can you answer this one? ¿Cómo se dice ser usando el imperfecto de subjuntivo? Okay. Megan, still waiting your answer. What do you think ser, tú, conjugated in past subjunctive would be? It's not sending everything. Oopsie. Okay, then I'll go ahead. Megan, if you need to, feel free to also type it in an email, but Clara, maybe see if your chat will send it. I think it happens if it freezes. Mine just froze as well. Internet, I tell you. Think it just froze. So I'm going to give it to y'all. Okay. Oh, wait, I just got an email. And that's Hope. Oh, okay, she's back. Bienvenida, Esperanza. Okay, so back to what we were doing. Tú. So if you use ser, it'd be fuera, right? Because we know this is a regular, okay? But let's go ahead and do a regular one using bailar. So if I were to dance, I were to dance. All right. Oh, I see you guys are answering. Okay, this is good. The chat's back. My chat's not, so I can't really respond. But yeah, si fueras. Okay. Esperanza. Acuérdate que fueron is from pretérito ellos. All right. But it still has the same. So what you do is you take the preterite they conjugation and you add on those imperfect endings, right? So because they went or they were, using ser is fueron, you drop that O in, and because it's tú, right, you add an AS, fueras. The accent is not necessary on fueras. All right. Normally there's only an accent on the nosotros conjugation of past subjunctive. Okay, back to yo using bailar, bailara, right? You just take bailar or bailaron, drop the O in and add the A. Okay, let me see. I can draw on my screen, but I don't know how to erase it. Let's see. I used to be able to draw. Don't know how to draw. Searching for a face. Oh, still searching for a face. That's kind of weird. Okay. So I don't know how to delete this, but we're gonna try. So bailara. See that? Oh, all I have to do is delete it like that. Ha. Okay. Esta vez, ustedes van a conjugar nosotros de comer. Si pueden escribirlo en el chat, hazlo. Si puedes escribirlo en el chat, hazlo. Hope we did see that. Did y'all get this? Remember, Clara, bailara, without the accent, only will go on the we form. So try and conjugate nosotros comer. Okay, muy bien, Clara. Coméramos. Well done. Okay. All right, let's see. How about el decir? Move the parentheses, huh? Make sure you give it a couple of minutes so everybody can try. This one I want Esperanza to answer first, and then feel free, Clara or Megan, to edit it if you see any errors. Fe? Ah, good. Okay. Okay. Go ahead, use el and decir. Hope, waiting for your response. Thank you so much, Megan. I think so. I'm going to write down the answers as we've gone through them. So far, I can't write it in the chat. I'm going to write it up on the video. If you look at the video, these are the answers that we've done so far. So I think it was, I can't remember the first one, but I think it was fuera, bailara, comiéramos, I think. That was we. Okay? Remember, you have to take the verb, the infinitive, put it in the they preterite before you add on the past subjunctive ending. If it's we, that is when you need an accent. On everything else, you don't. Because if you say bailará, that is he will dance. Bailará is past subjunctive. If you look at the video, you'll see what I'm saying. All right? You'll be able to see this text that I'm typing. All right. So, Hope, still waiting on you to do decir. Decir, and it was él. Faith, you're with us. Muy bien. Qué bien. Esperanza, no sé si tengas acceso. Entonces, can someone else answer el decir? Let's see. Oh, Esperanza. Okay, Claire. I have a special homework assignment for you to know decir in every single tense. So, how do you say they said? How do you say they said, Clara? That is they said. Okay, so you drop that O in and you add an A because it was el as the subject. Okay, important. This is why subjunctive. This is why learning the preterite conjugations of the difficult words like this is very important. Okay, so let's go with fe. Now that you're here, can you go ahead and tell me how we say nosotros dar en past subjunctive? Lo voy a poner en la pantalla del video. Da es el presente, he gives, okay? Pero dar, and let's give Faith a chance to answer. Faith, ¿puedes? Nosotros de dar. Claro, yo sé que no te gusta para nada, pero hay que aprenderla. We're doing dar, not decir. Dar, to give. ¿Cómo se dice they give? They gave. They gave. All right, so I'm gonna teach this on the screen. They gave, dieron. ¿Ok? Pero con el español tenemos que borrar para el imperfecto de subjuntivo, tenemos que borrar la O y la N y poner la terminación. When I said they, right? So we're going to go ahead and add an A-N, dieran. Ok, si queremos usar el sujeto de yo para leer, ¿sí? ¿Cómo se dice they read in preterite? Leyeron con Y, ¿ok? Vamos a borrar la O y la N y cambiarlo a A-N. Leyeran. Tú, dormir. ¿Cómo se dice they slept? You have to be careful with words like dormir that are weird stem changers in preterite. Okay, they slept. Durmieron. Dormieron should sound weird. It's dormí, dormiste, durmió, dormimos, durmieron. Okay, van a borrar la O-N y cambiarlo a N. Durmieran. Y es durmiéramos para nosotros. ¿Cómo se dice they asked for? To ask for es pedir, pedir, pedir. ¿Cómo se dice they asked for? Pidieron, pidieron. Van a borrar O-N, cambiarlo a N. ¿Ok? Preguntas, por favor, escriban sus preguntas en el chat. You can't see what I'm typing? Oh, no puede ser. I don't even have access to this chat. Well, I could only type in faces on the chat. Oh, it's back. Ha. Okay. I didn't have access to the chat until now again, so internet sucks. Okay. ¿Tienen preguntas? Por favor, escriban sus preguntas sobre el imperfecto de subjuntivo. Nos falta 10 minutos. No estoy segura. ¿Qué significa esa carita? ¿Es it a duck? Ah, sí. Ok. Por favor, escriban sus preguntas en el chat sobre el imperfecto del subjuntivo. Ok. Dar. Usando ustedes. Ustedes. Primero van a cambiarlo a they gave, dieron. Indicativo. Pero para el imperfecto de subjuntivo hay que borrar a la ON y agregar la AN. Okay? Please write in the chat if you have any questions before we move on to the very last thing. I'm going to send you guys a link that I need you to go to for the next thing that we're going to learn. This is the last grammar concept that we have. Woohoo! We will have a practice AP exam on a Saturday before the actual AP test. Before that, we'll have 4 class periods where we take it separately. But then there will be a Saturday where you have to take it all together at least 2 weeks before the AP exam. It's one of the most difficult parts is just sitting there for so long and being able to take the test. So it's kind of difficult. The last thing we need to learn, I'm trying to get the link so I can send it to you all. Here it is. It's relative pronouns, pronombres relativos. I'm guessing you have no questions because no one wrote them on there. But here's the link you guys need to click and pull up. Whoa, that's weird. Comments can't contain links. Put it in your video description. What? Okay, that's weird. I'm not allowed to write links. And now they've disabled my video. Okay. So go to studyspanish.com, Unit 8. Click Grammar. Then go to Unit 8. And you should see the first thing for relative pronouns. Please let me know when you have gotten to that page. I was typing it. It's not sending. I hate the internet. Okay. So the first relative pronoun we're going to talk about, you guys have already learned about a lot, and it's que. Okay. Relative pronouns refer to a noun. A relative pronoun are relative because they are related to a noun that has previously been stated. So we use these relative pronouns whenever we want to replace something that's already been talked about. Okay. So normally when you have 2 different sentences that talk about the same noun, that's when you will use a relative pronoun. For example, where is the milk? No. Where is the milk that you bought? Because we want to know where's the milk. We know that you bought milk, but when we want to say where's the milk that you bought, we know we're still referring to the milk. Okay? This isn't the case that you use que, that, right? But it gets more complicated because sometimes we have to use other forms of que, which is like el que, la que, lo que, cuyo, quien. We have to use a lot of different words. And so it's just, we're starting to make the distinctions because there will be a part on the AP test that has you try to fill in the blank between those different ones, and it's very difficult. It says on here, another way to view relative pronouns is to recognize that they are used to introduce a clause that modifies a noun. Yes, we were talking about modifying a noun. The clause I finished last night modifies the noun book. So, terminé el libro anoche, right? El libro es muy extenso. Those are the 2 things that we know. Now, el libro que terminé anoche es muy extenso. In this case, we're modifying the noun book. We know that it was finished last night, and we know it was very long. It can also be used, it can be used to refer to both people and things in either the subject or the object position. And so this is like who, whom, which, and that. It can be all of those things, and that's why it's really complicated when you have to change it. So, for example, the man who's poor, el hombre que es pobre, right? You might hear that in a famous quote. El hombre que es pobre aprecia la vida más, right? The man who's poor, who is poor, there we go. The man who is poor appreciates life more. Los libros que son extensos, right? Books which are long. La señorita que conocí, the young lady whom I met. So you can say, el chico que conocí, the boy that I met, start to tell me stories, you know. La carta que leíste, the letter that you read. All right. Oftentimes in English, this is really important. We omit the relative pronoun. We don't say that. So we can say the house we bought is new. But in Spanish, you don't say la casa compramos. There has to be something in between casa and compramos. It's the que, the house that we bought. So this is like if you guys have ever diagrammed sentences or you've had to break up an English sentence in elementary school or middle school into clauses, independent clauses and dependent clauses. This is the case where you would have a sentence that says the house we bought is new, right? And you want to know what is the clause that interrupts, where's the dependent clause that interrupts the independent clause? And then you'd have to insert that, and you would put a box around the that, and that we bought is modifying the phrase the house is new. Okay? So this is actually kind of difficult, but it'll get to a point where if you said la casa compramos es nueva, it would not make sense. You'd be like, there's something missing. And normally what's missing is that que. Okay? So you could say, my brother older than me. Normally you'd be like, mi hermano mayor que yo. It should sound wrong. But you want to say my brother that is older than me. That is older than me is modifying who your brother is. Like, what is your brother in relation to you? It's like describing, right? It's like an aside in the middle of a sentence. The next example is el programa que miraba era cómico, right? So in English, we'd say the show I was watching was funny, right? But if you said el programa miraba, it sounds like you're saying the program was looking at was funny, right? If you don't have that, that's what it sounds like in Spanish. El programa que miraba, because we know the program that yo miraba, right? Or ella miraba era cómico. Okay, that's very important. As you start to have questions, go ahead and shoot them to me. Megan, I just saw your email about more examples of imperfect. Hopefully that was a past email. Let me go ahead and look at this chat. I don't have access to the chat, guys. I can't see. Oh, you guys are on it. Good. So let's go to this next one. We're just going to pass through these, but I want you guys before next Thursday. So your homework for next Thursday, I'll write it on Run Web tonight, will be to go through here and take some of the quizzes. I want at least 3 quizzes. I would recommend taking a quiz from the que section, the quién section, the el, quién, lo, que, the cuyo. Like, so let's make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quizzes. They're each 10 questions. It's like 50 questions. It will help you. Okay. And then we will have an in-class quiz on Thursday next week. So let's go ahead and look at the quién section. So if you start at the top, continue with the subject of relative pronouns. Remember that pronouns are words that refer to a noun. You guys know this. We just talked about it. Quién is only used to refer to people and has a plural form as well. So if you're talking about multiple people, you are going to say quiénes. I see that I have a new email popping up. Oh, it's not you guys. Okay, perfect. And it doesn't matter whether or not it's masculine or feminine, okay? So when is an example that we use this? Mi tío, quien es profesor, viene a visitarme hoy día. La chica con quien fui al cine es mi novia. Quien estudia bastante, gana buenas notas. All right? So whenever the relative pronoun refers to a person and is in a direct object position, you can either use que or quien, okay? Both are correct. Notice that a personal I is used with quien, but it is not used with que. This is extremely important. So, for example, la señorita que conocí anoche es la hermana de Raquel. It's completely correct. But if you want to say la señorita a quien conocí, to whom, right? Conocí anoche es la hermana de Raquel. So, if you notice, it's kind of interesting that here we say a quien, but when it's not used as a direct object pronoun and you're just saying who is instead of to whom, you do not need an a. So if you have a struggle between knowing that, who, and whom in English, it is just as difficult in Spanish. All it's going to take are a lot of examples and a lot of sentences to get that clarified. So let's keep going. When the relative pronoun occurs after a preposition and refers to a person, quien must be used, okay? So this is anytime you're saying with whom or of whom, okay? So let's look. Los chicos con quienes fuimos a la playa son nuestros amigos. So you wouldn't say los chicos con que fuimos a la playa because we're talking about people and there's a preposition. The preposition is the con. Remember that a preposition is something that can be like that refers to directions or specifies like with or of, okay? El libro en que pienso es extenso, no es corto. So the translation will say the book I'm thinking of is long, not short. But the way that the word order goes is the book of which I think is long, not short, right? That's the order. It's because the enque is referring to the book that you put it after the book. Does that make sense? This is very difficult, I know. So let's go ahead and do some examples because that's the only way to get these things straight. And I think we're just going to pause a little bit. I'd like you to also look through your own on those next three, 87, 88, 89, and still take those quizzes. But for today, just because we're 2 minutes past when I wanted to have this session, which means, oops, it was the technical difficulties at the beginning. So we're going to just go through and do some examples. So try and type it in on the chat. Let me go ahead and look and make sure that I can see what's on the chat. Because I can't write anything myself, which is extremely annoying. Let's see. Yeah. It only lets me put these dumb faces. I don't really know why. Control-Alt-Delete. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and have the chat back. I'm gonna go ahead and ask a question, and you just tell me which which word, que or quien or con quien or all the variations that we've talked about you think you should use, okay? Listos? Okay. So, the girls you saw are my sisters. Go ahead and write on the chat once you know the answer. The girls you saw are my sisters. Okay. All right, there's two answers. I see some people have one answer. I want to see what you think is the other. Let's see. All right. Faith. That is the other option. So one of the options is que, right? And then the other than que, we have a little discrepancy between quién and quiénes. I need someone who said quién to write down the reason why they think it's singular, and someone who said quiénes to write down why they think it's plural. The girls, yeah, Clara. The girls you saw are my sisters. Megan, you're so close. You is singular, but we're referring to the girls. A quienes, okay? So the reason why is because we're talking about the girls, las chicas, quienes, ¿verdad? Whom you saw, right? We're talking about those girls. That's what's really important. We have to think about what is the direct object in this case. And the you that you're thinking of, the you saw, is actually the subject, but not what we're trying to modify. And to see someone, to see them, actually makes it a direct object, which is why we say a quienes. The girls whom you saw is a better way to say it in English, right? So your actual answer would be a quienes. Let's see if it lets me write it there. And it's sent. Las chicas a quienes. Okay, let's do two more before we go ahead and hang up. The man you met last night is an author. It's another tricky one. Anyone have a different opinion than Kian? And there's two options for this one. So pretty much I'm going to make this really easy. So the easiest thing to do is to use que whenever you can. Oh my gosh, Elena, it's 12:11. It's 12:11. Oh, sorry. I was supposed to be somewhere at 12. Okay, the easiest thing to do is use que whenever you can. And then think, when can I not use que? And when you can't use que is when whenever you have a preposition, number one, that is like when you must use quien. And that's when it's with whom or of whom or that I'm thinking of. Those different, especially if it has of or with, you can't use que. Now, something that's really important also is that when you have a person in your sentence and it is in the direct object place, you got to put that personal a if you're going to use quien. Okay? So when the pronoun refers to a person and is in the direct object, you can use a or quien, but when you use quien, you have to use the personal a. So therefore, on this sentence, what do you think the answer is? There's two of them. I see you, Faye. All right. And the reasoning for that, it's the man that you met last night is an author, or the man whom you met last night is an author. Both of those are correct in Spanish. And because it's a direct object and a person, you say a quien. All right. Now, if you want to just say quien, there's actually a way that you can change the syntax of the sentence. You could actually say the man who is an author you met last night, right? So you can say el hombre, quien es autor, lo conociste anoche. You'd have to say you met him last night. Does that make sense? So I'm going to write all these different options out on the full sentence, okay? Let's see. What was the sentence? The man. Okay, so this is option one. It's giving you more ways to say things. Faye, that's a great question. Let me write out these three different options and then I'll answer that question. Oh my gosh, my chat doesn't work anymore. Nope. It's the noun right now. Because look for the verb. It's conociste, right? What's the subject of conociste? Yeah, the way that subjects are found here in Spanish is a little bit different. Because if you change the sentence, the man that you met last night, you would, if you wanted to keep out man, you would say you met him, right? Him in that case would not be a subject, would it? It would be the direct object. So pretty much that's how you know it's not, I don't know what you're saying, Faye, or Esperanza. Oh, what was the third option? El hombre, quien es autor lo conociste anoche? And this is the third option. Okay, so look at those three options, and if you can understand those three options that I just gave you, you'll be able to understand this concept that is extremely complicated. So complicated. All right. Are there any last minute questions? Have you all looked at RenWeb for your homework? To type it in because I can't remember what I gave you. Let's see. Your homework for Tuesday was, I think, up to page 7, wasn't it? Let's see. So Google Hangout is weird. I wish you guys could also interact with me, you know. And it's on the internet for the world to see. All right. So let's see. Your homework for Tuesday is to read to page read to page 5. So it's pages 2 through 5. Also, it says hoja de ejercicio sobre pronombres relativos. We're going to make that due Thursday. All right, so I'm going to put entregar el jueves, el 21, 22 de enero. We're going to say 5 quizzes from Study Spanish about these pronombres relativos. 5 pruebas. StudySpanish.com. Are there any questions? Go ahead and ask them now. Yes, I changed it to 5 in class. If you read to 7, it's okay. All right, so your homework for Tuesday is read to page 5 in that packet. Your homework for next Thursday is to do those 5 quizzes over pronombres relativos from Study Spanish. I need you to print those out and bring them to class, those 5 quizzes, and come with questions that you might have. Next Tuesday, we will read in class. We will practice conjugating our verbs in every tense that we know. We'll also practice reading aloud, but now we just have to keep practicing on speaking Spanish and getting comfortable with all these grammar things that we've learned. And these relative pronouns are very difficult. But like I said, go ahead and use que and use quien when it comes to a person. When it's a preposition, you have to use quien with the preposition. What you're going to discover about lo que is that is a fill-in for what. What I was trying to say, lo que quería decir, right? That is when you would say lo que. But that's something, like I said, is kind of difficult, but you guys will get it with more practice, so do not be frustrated. If there are no questions, which I'm not seeing any, no preguntas, perfecto. Esperanza, I have no idea where you are. I think you might have delayed internet. That's the end of class. Gracias por estar conmigo por 1 hora. Pasó mucho tiempo, lo siento mucho, pero seguimos aprendiendo. Gracias, adiós.